If either India or Pakistan had a fifth-generation fighter jet by May 2025, the outcome of any conflict would likely be decisively one-sided. The nation with the advanced jet would dominate the skies, control the battlefield, and almost certainly emerge victorious. Fifth-generation jets represent the future of warfare, and whichever country, India or Pakistan, acquires them first will gain a significant advantage in any future conflict, given the critical role of air power in ongoing tensions. India's Ministry of Defense is actively pursuing its own fifth-generation stealth fighter, inviting companies to submit prototypes and advancing the program. The key question is whether India will secure these jets before Pakistan, either by developing its own or purchasing advanced models like the F-35 or Su-57 from abroad. What distinguishes a fifth-generation fighter jet from the current air fleets of India and Pakistan? Primarily, it's stealth, enabling these jets to be nearly undetectable by enemy radar. They also feature supercruise, allowing sustained supersonic flight without fuel-intensive afterburners, balancing speed and efficiency. Additionally, they boast advanced sensors that detect threats long before being spotted, and data fusion technology integrates inputs from satellites, drones, and radars to provide pilots with a comprehensive real-time battlefield overview. Finally, superior agility and onboard AI make these jets smarter, faster, and more lethal. In contrast, India's Rafale and upgraded Su-30 MKI and Pakistan's JF-17 Block 3 J-10C and F-16 Block 52 are 4.5 generation jets, lacking these cutting-edge capabilities. Fifth-generation fighter jets are formidable, and if either India or Pakistan had deployed one during recent skirmishes, it would have dramatically tipped the scales. India has now launched an initiative to develop its own fifth-generation aircraft, spearheaded by the Aeronautical Development Agency, ADA, in collaboration with Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HL, and private firms like Tata Advanced Systems. The project, named the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft AMCA, aims to produce a twin-engine single-seat stealth fighter. The government has allocated $1.8 billion to develop initial prototypes, targeting the first by 2028 and planning for mass production of at least 120 jets by 2035. However, challenges remain. India lacks a domestically developed fighter jet engine, relying instead on American-made ones for its current aircraft. Previous attempts to co-develop an engine with U.S. assistance have faltered, which could delay India's engine development program. A significant obstacle is funding, as developing fifth-generation stealth fighters is costly. Despite India's robust economy, balancing defense spending is critical to avoid undermining other vital military projects, especially amid heightened tensions with neighboring countries. Another challenge is the developer's track record, as the company involved is known for slow progress, risking delays beyond the 2035 target. This raises the question, can India afford to wait? Currently, India relies on 4.5 generation Rafale fighters and is upgrading its Su-30 MKI fleet to similar standards, while also developing the Tejas Mk-1A with 4.5 generation capabilities. However, none of these are fifth generation, and if Pakistan acquires stealth jets first, India's advantage could disappear rapidly. To address this, India is exploring faster foreign options, such as acquiring the F-35 or Su-57. The F-35, widely regarded as the premier stealth jet, comes with a steep price tag of approximately $100, $110 million per unit, excluding its high operational costs, around 30 lakh rupees per flight hour, and the need for a complex, costly maintenance system. In contrast, the Su-57 is more affordable, though less stealthy, and is easier to procure with fewer restrictions and quicker availability. However, India requires over 100 fifth-generation jets to counter not only Pakistan but also China. Purchasing the F-35S in large numbers is unlikely due to prohibitive costs and technology transfer challenges, though India might consider a smaller batch of 3650 jets for specialized missions if the strategic landscape shifts significantly. India could choose for a larger deal with the Su-57, initially purchasing 50-70 ready-made jets and later manufacturing 100-150 domestically, targeting a total of 150-220 jets in the long term. However, acquiring fifth-generation jets from abroad could cost $5 billion, $15 billion with life cycle costs of $30, $60 billion over 30-40 years, straining India's budget and potentially hindering the Make in India initiative and the AMCA project due to high costs and divided focus. Meanwhile, Pakistan is reportedly pursuing China's J-35 stealth fighter, expected to be operational by 2029-2030, aiming for 50-70 units by the early 2030s. Pakistan is also exploring Turkey's upcoming Khan fifth-generation jet, set to debut around the same time. If Pakistan joins or becomes a customer of this program, it could gain another route to fifth-generation capability. Acquiring 50-70 J-35 or Khan jets may cost $5 billion, $7 billion, a significant sum for Pakistan's limited defense budget, but strong ties with China and Turkey could enable long-term payment plans, joint production, or technology transfer deals, making such acquisitions more viable. India's initiative to develop its own fifth-generation fighter through the AMCA program will significantly strengthen its aerospace and defense sector in the long term, but it faces delays, meaning fifth-generation jets won't be available soon. Consequently, India is considering foreign options like the F-35 or Su-57. However, Russia's Su-57 production is limited, with only 612 units built annually for its own Air Force and a plan for just 76 units by 2028, limiting its ability to supply India in large quantities anytime soon. Russia has proposed licensed production of the Su-57 in India, potentially leveraging existing Su-30 MKI infrastructure, but establishing a production line for such an advanced fighter requires significant upgrades and time. Even if production starts, achieving substantial numbers could take over a decade. At best, India might receive a small batch of 2050 Su-57s by the early 2030s, but a larger fleet exceeding 100 jets is unlikely before the late 2030s. If India pursues F-35 purchases, it would face lengthy and complex negotiations, with the earliest deliveries of a small batch possible in the late 2020s, but more realistically in the early 2030s, and certainly not exceeding 100 jets by then. Conversely, Pakistan's primary fifth-generation option, the J-35, is already in testing and early production, with a mature design ready for export. China reportedly plans to deliver an initial batch of 30 J-35s to Pakistan by early 2026, with Pakistani pilots already training in China. Pakistan could access these early production units, similar to China's expedited delivery of JEF-17S, potentially receiving a full fleet of 50-70 J-35s by the late 2020s. Meanwhile, Turkey's Khan fighter remains in the prototype phase, with full production expected around 2029. If Pakistan joins the program, it could acquire 50-70 units in the early to mid-2030s after Turkey fulfills its own requirements. In summary, Pakistan is poised to obtain its first batch of fifth-generation J-35 fighters within the next 1-2 years, significantly outpacing India's timeline. Pakistan's early J-35 or Khan jets may have basic fifth-generation capabilities, potentially lacking advanced features like sensor fusion, but they would still surpass 4.5 generation fighters and could be upgraded over time. Comparing their features to India's potential fifth-generation acquisitions is premature. Meanwhile, India is unlikely to receive even a small batch of fifth-generation jets before the late 2020s, with a full fleet of over 100 aircraft likely achievable only after 2035, and domestic production could take even longer. Now, if you like this video, check out this next video right here.